Well, we're out here on another video that we're making. And Jen, what's this video about?
It is about switchgrass.
I like to keep her in the dark sometimes, but
I have no clue.
I think it's more fun that way, right?
Yeah, I'm the go button lady. Just go.
Just go. She says go, and then she pushes a button. But right now, I want to take people around the farm and really just show what our food plots look like right now on the date, August 3rd. It is August 3rd right
It
now,
is
right?
August 3rd, yeah.
Yeah, so
Happy August.
we have our clover that's been established for a while. We have our rut zone we planted July 2nd. And then we have our fall power and big boost brassica that we planted on July 22nd. So, what would be a good plot? I'll give you some choices. Actually, we're going to narrow it down to two pretty quick to show everyone what those plots look like between clover, big boost, fall power, and rut zone. We got
Well,
really the Kermit,
yeah, I was gonna say Jim's and
the blade, and no
yeah.
clover on
I'm sorry, no, not Jim's. I was thinking the
the
blade
blade,
here, and along with the Kermit, that'd be a good one to
the hermit, and then
showcase.
yeah, and then what about Gold Rush?
67 is a good one too.
67 would be a really good one.
Yeah, Gold Rush is great with the connecting badger there.
Yeah. So which one? I'll leave it up to you. Out of Gold Rush, the blade, the 67. Out of those three, which one would you like to go to?
Let's go to Gold Rush.
Gold Rush. Okay.
And the reason I say
I'm gonna
Gold
get going
Rush,
then.
faster, Jeff.
All the way on the other side of the farm.
The reason I say Gold Rush is because I saw Ocho there. And it's such a beautiful clover plot over there, along with all of our greens and brassica, and now the rut zone that we planted over there.
Yeah.
It's a great area.
No, I like that. That sounds good to me. I'd like to go see what it looked like. I've been to the blade more recently and haven't been to Gold Rush for a little while.
You were thinking I was going to say the blade, didn't you?
I don't know. You had brought up the 67 point, which is my favorite food plot system, just because it's big, it's beautiful, and it's very very remote.
Hey, we can go over there. I'm okay with that if you want.
No, Gold Rush is fine, but yeah, that's head to Gold Rush.
I'm going to look for berry bushes on the way.
Yeah, we already been picking some blackberries, so that's a good thing.
How many berry bushes have you driven by?
0 with berries.
Are you sure? You're driving so fast, I don't even know how you see
Look at that.
them.
Look at the deer. Our first stop here is Gold Rush, and we're walking right by the rut zone to get back to the fall power and big boost brassica. But the rut zone is that combination where we really need this to start growing after fawning. So we want does and fawns to establish somewhere else, scattered all around these ag fields, basically hitting beans if they're there, but also the alfalfa. They love the alfalfa, and we want them to establish their fawning grounds somewhere else. So we wait till right around July 1st in our area. If you're down south, Kentucky, West Virginia, that might be more like middle of July to end of July. The whole idea is we want there to be a bean here, but we don't want the deer hammering the beans here all summer and establishing fawn residency. But we want to plant it early enough to actually get a pod and then of course a bean. So this is doing really well. We planted this July 2nd, and this is what it looks like on August 3rd. Now I want to point out, you can see the various pieces in here and what it looks like. Here's the soybeans. They're down here, and what we're finding is the buckwheat's starting to get browsed on pretty good. You can see some of the buckwheat right back here. And if Jen can zoom in on my hand, you can start to see a lot of this buckwheat that's been trimmed off. They eat it, and even some over by her. And what we're left with underneath are these bean plants. So we have good beans in here, and the whole idea of this buckwheat is to act as a nurse crop to the beans. But then at the same time, we have these vining peas that are coming up. You can see this one's been nibbled on. These stay really green in through November. And because we have the buckwheat and because we have the beans, these peas like to vine up. And when they vine, it's like plants on a trellis. They get up, they get exposed to more sun, they keep growing. And so a little bit of bean goes a long ways. and we get a lot of volume on that. And then of course we have the tillage radish that's in here. And some of these tillage radish, Jen, if you can
They're
pan
pretty
down to this
big.
one right here on the edge, but it's already coming up and it's already starting to form a radish down here and already getting pretty large in here. So we can, I don't think if I pick one it's really going to show too much, but it's getting a lot of volume, and you see that root's already starting to get established. And again, this is 1 month, 1 day of growth. Now we did have rain before then and rain right after, so when we pushed this down into the soil, then it had immediate moisture and germination and grew as fast as possible for these plants. So this is what it looks like a month and 1 day later. And I can't wait to get in there and look at the Fall Power and the Big Boost Brassica, because those were planted on July 22nd. It's now August 3rd, so it hasn't been that long since it's been planted. And it popped up right away. Literally, we had about a ½ inch of rain in the morning. We planted it during the day, and then that evening we received about 1.5 inches over about a 4 to 5 hour period. And then we've had small and big shots of rain since that time. Had about a week where we didn't get anything, maybe 6 days, but it's doing pretty well. So let's go take a look. So this is what that Big Boost Brassica half looks like. It's looking really good. The thing about Brassica, never be discouraged that, you know, we had immediate germination, immediate moisture. I would say it's different because you take a tillage radish plant, they just pop immediately, grow really fast. You take more of a rape plant down here, and you can see the average difference in size between these plants. And more of a forage, more of a tuber, and the radish is the fastest growing one. But the whole point is these plants are 1.5 inches and 3 inches tall, and you never really expect, and I think that's what with Brassica, you know, this stuff over here, the beans, the buckwheat, tillage radish, the peas, they all explode. The peas are the slowest germinating one out of that, but the rest of them just explode. Where Brassica, outside of this tillage radish right here, it comes in really slow. And so you look out here and you think, man, there's not a lot of green here, but there's not supposed to be. The spacing's supposed to be every 3 or 4 inches apart, not every ½ inch. And in that growth for that first couple weeks, you're not going to expect much more than 2 or 3 inches of growth. Now in a month, you might expect anywhere, depending on moisture and heat. Good heat, good moisture, obviously you're going to grow faster. You're going to be in that 6 to 10 inch range. Really rarely a foot. It's going to be 6 to 10 inches. However, the second month and the third month of growth, you're going to put on 12 to 15 inches. So it's possible this gets to 30 to 36 inches in the end, but a really slow start. And that's why we wait to, with this Brassica right here, once this is established like this, we're going to wait about till mid-August at this point, or another 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks. Those plants will be anywhere from 6 to 10 inches, and that's when we apply 75 pounds of urea per acre, and that gives you, what's that, 35 to 40 pounds of nitrogen per acre, ultimately. And that's what we're adding to this at about that 4-week window. And that's that growth phase where it's really putting on a lot of volume and mass. That urea lasts in the soil for just a short period of time. And what we've actually, that's what we've traditionally done. Last year we started using, and I want to say it's Nitro Boost or Nitro Graze.
Nitrogrow.
Nitrogrow from Deer Grow. And it's 2500 liquid fertilizer. So we come in here and spray it directly on the Brassica. 90% of that goes into the plant immediately. And so it's a lot different than throwing urea on the ground, waiting it for dissolving in the soil with some rain, hoping you don't get too much heat because it volatilizes, it goes up in the air, and you lose half of it over a 2-week period, where the Nitro grows right into the soil, or right into the plant, and helps it give it a huge boost. So we want that during that aggressive growth phase. And again, you know, in that first 2 weeks, this is what you can expect. It looks perfect. This came up as fast as possible, just like that over there, because we had that that rain early in the morning and then after, and we did really well on our planting. So great rains, immediate germination. It was immediate on the fall power over there too. You know, I have to mention too, we don't use any kind of coating on our seed. Coating is, so in a real perfect world, ag, soybeans, corn, coated seed, I don't even know if they use it with corn, but alfalfa, soybean, when everything is planted perfectly into the soil at the exact same depth, you get no inconsistency with seed depth, quality of soil, type of soil, then you're getting even germination. And when you have coated seed, it'll give you a higher germination rate. However, when you throw in inconsistent planting depths, inconsistent weather patterns, because you're not pushing the seed into the soil with professional planters and drills, when you have inconsistent soil levelness, so you get a lot of unevenness with the soil, so you have soil that's going up and down. That means the seed's going to be at different depths too, let alone how you plant it, if you're dragging it, cultipacking, whatever, then you don't have enough seed when you just use a coated amount and you're missing 30% of seed, 35% of seed to get full germination. And we've even seen some of the food plot seed companies adding rye to their Brassica, for example, in mid-growth phase, because there's a lot of open bare soil because of the inconsistency of us food plotters. So all those ag studies, you can throw them out the window when it comes to food plotting. Not only are we not commercially spraying with these giant batwing sprayers that are GPS controlled, but we're certainly not planting the same way that farmers do. So we don't use coated seed. We use the full recommended amount, which is between 7 and 8 pounds per acre of Brassica, depending on the variety that you're planting. And then we throw out and we get great germination rates, especially with inconsistent planting, soil and depth, and throwing it on top of the soil. Some of that is exposed, some of it's not, some of it goes up against thatch of our buckwheat, grows better. So as a food plotter, I want the full amount of pure seed. That's why we call it pure wildlife blends. And you know, don't believe the hype, because things that apply to ag don't necessarily apply to food plotting. That's why a lot of times farmers wouldn't make good food plotters, and food plotters, of course, would not make good farmers. So I can attest to that. That's a whole new science. But let's walk over here to the fall power and take a look at what that looks like. So this is our fall power. This is a culmination of 25 years of planting greens and green blends. In fact, the rut zone is too. That's a different purpose over there. That's right for that mid-season heavy during the rut. It has that bean carryover. Buckwheat for real extreme early, like they're eating it right now. And this is more of a blend of early to mid-season. Brassica over here that Jen planted, this is what Wes planted. Brassica is more mid to late, and you did a great job.
Thank
Jen.
you.
Yes, of course. But Wes planted the fall power, and this is a little bit different where we've gotten rid of the oats, because when you plant a lot of oats early, they head out. We used to have beans in this mix. Beans with the big seeds, and the way we were planting at that time, you had more inconsistent germination, so it was just a small portion. For example, over there we have twice as many beans in the rut zone than we ever did in our fall power, and we plant this later, a month later. So there we expect to get beans and pod. We don't expect that here. But this mix, planted on July 22nd, and you can see this pops a little faster. Again, we want this to be an early planting. So this is what it looks like. And part of like these big plants in here, here's a taller one right here, is buckwheat. So imagine this, they're already eating that buckwheat at about week 4 over there. So imagine this coming in here and eating that. So compared to that Brassica we just had over here, that buckwheat's a lot taller. That's that first piece of growth that they eat out here. And then also we have annual clover in here. And that annual clover is already popping. I'd say it's anywhere from a 1/2 inch to an inch right now. And what's really cool about that annual clover, it's not going to be around next year, but it'll really provide a strong source of attraction in through October and November to stay green. It'll grow 8 to 10 inches high. It has huge clover leaves on it, and it's a really good filler and addition past that buckwheat timing. We have peas in this. We have the tillage radish. So we have a little bit of rye as a cover crop. We want that rye to come in here, offer a little bit of nurse crop potential, and they'll nibble on it, especially when it's fresh and young, and that takes pressure off. The tillage radish we're establishing for later. The annual clover, we want that rye to come up, and then we just let it go. And we don't put a lot in there because we don't want it overtaking the field. That's what used to happen with the oats. And then on this side specifically, about early to mid-September, then we're coming in here and we're adding that rye to it, and that rye is going to carry all the way to spring. But you can see right here, and Jen, if you pan down here, there's a lot more green in this than the Brassica. And again, that's important because we want this to establish early and draw the attention. But you can see just after, it's August 3rd and July 22nd. You can see what this looks like. And what's really cool about this, and this is some annual clover coming up right here, but what's really cool about this is that you can see how well it's doing inside this buckwheat. We laid down this buckwheat, we smashed it down. I spray at the same time to control weeds. This thatch lays on the ground with all the dead, and you can look at these leaves. They're only about 2 weeks after crushing it, rolling it, and they're just almost dust. I mean, there's not much to stop the seed from getting on the ground, yet there's enough thatch here, like straw with a lawn, to actually aid in germination, hold moisture. You need less rain to germinate, and that's why we get such a boost with this coming up. And this is the way it looks. I want you to be able to look at your own food plots and gauge, this is what July 22nd to August 3rd looks like with a green blend, with our Brassica blend. That rut zone over there, in about a month and a day's worth of growth, that's what it looks like. And now we had perfect rain conditions. And as far as those planting windows, and I talk about them all the time, that rut zone, July 1st is when we want to plant. If we saw a big rain event coming on June 25th, then we're going to try to plant the day before or the day after so we can jam it down into the soil and get good germination rates. Brassica and our fall power, August 1st around here. That's our window. That's the perfect timing. However, if there's no rain, we wait. If you get rain before, we plant. That's why we went on July 22nd. So we went a little bit early this year. Last year's on July 29th. But again, we're planting based on rain in the immediate forecast. When I'm watching the rain on AccuWeather, I'm really looking at AccuWeather or some of the other weather services, weather.com, Weather Underground. Some of them are a little bit different, but I'm looking at that and I want to see some really good percentages 4 out of 5 days. I want to see good percentage of the rain in the forecast, because if you only have one good day and maybe one low percentage day, you're probably not going to get rain. I want to see 4 out of 5, 5 out of 7 days where, man, this is a rainy period. The temperatures are changing. There's a lot of volatility in the air. They're forecasting a lot of humidity, and that's when we're going to take a chance. And we're rarely ever burned when we do that for planting. So if you guys have any questions about planting seed, whatever questions you have, whether it relates to a product we have or not, doesn't really matter. Anything whitetail, the rut coming up, planning your vacation for the rut, anything that's pertinent in the whitetail world right now, we have our podcast. We're taking voicemail, we're taking your calls, and what we'll try to do is feature as many of you as possible, either recorded voicemail or inviting you to actually be part of the discussion with us during that podcast when we shoot that. That's what we want the most. We'll look forward to it if you can make that happen. The phone number for that is in the description. As always, the link to Pure Wildlife Blends is in the description. And we appreciate you watching all this. I hope it helps you know what you're looking for when it comes to your food plots and making sure you're on track with great plantings with whatever seed blend you're using for this season.